Hi everyone. Today we're going to get introduced to Jamovi, and I just simply clicked on my icon and this is what opens up. So right now I have a blank Jamovi. I have no data in there, and there are a lot of different ways that we can bring in data. We can import it from either a CSV file or a .save file, even I believe an R file. But for today, we're just going to copy and paste some data in. So I am going to not copy the row that includes the headings or the variable labels. I'm just going to copy and paste the data. I'm going to right click, copy. I come over here and go right up here into this box. I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. And we now have our data in. Now, when we look at the data, we can see that it's not quite identified. We have the raw data, but we don't know exactly what is what. So I'm going to play with this. You can see, you can scoot these things over. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Scoot this over. Let's look at my data. Here we go. And I don't know why this is being such crap. There we go. So in order, I want to get my headings here. I want to know what my rows mean. And I also want to know what's the difference between a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 7 in some of these. You know, what each value means. So I'm going to go ahead and double click right on this A. I'm just going to double click and up pops my window. And I'm going to change, I'm just going to highlight over the A and I'm going to type in work status. Work status is nominal, correct? And where the 1 is, now I happen to know because this is data that I've worked with, and this is also actually, I'm looking at just a small portion of some of the GSS data. But I do happen to know, have the codes for each of these variables. So if I click right on the 1 and I type in working full-time, which is what the 1 is representing, you'll see the little 1 moves down here. So the 1 is still there, but it gives me the value of working. For the value of 1, I now have the label of working full-time. For the value of 2, it's going to be working part-time. For the value of 3, temporarily. Working. And you'll see my 2 is there, my 3 is there, and I'm just going to continue to fill this out. For 4, we've got unemployed or laid off. For 5, we've got retired. For 6, we've got school. Keeping house is 7. For 8 is other. Alrighty. Go back in and make all of these start with the capital just to keep it nice and professional. So it is nominal. They did come in as numbers, so we do have integers there. We're going to leave this as is. Now let's look at another variable. Let's go to C. And again, I do happen to know what these are. C is age. And for the description now, I'm going to add age in years. So that way we know what the measure is for our age. Age is definitely not nominal, it is continuous. You'll see the levels go away, and that's normal on a continuous variable. That's exactly what we want. D is education, and this is actually the highest year completed. So this again is going to be continuous, and it is integer. For E, we're going to call this degree, but this is actually the highest degree completed. Now, because it's highest degree and not highest year, this is actually an ordinal variable. This is going to be, each value is going to represent either a less than high school degree, a high school degree, a graduate degree. So this is actually an ordinal variable and not a scale or interval variable, because the measurements between each of the orders are not the same. We need to go in here and put in our value labels. Zero is less than high school. One is a high school degree. Two is junior college or community college. Three would be bachelor. Four would be graduate. Alrighty. You know, the only thing I can think of that's got to be more boring than listening to my voice ramble on is to watch me type. That cannot be interesting for you all. But hey, that's what I get paid the big bucks for. I'm kidding. I wish I got paid the big bucks. Let's go over to I. Happiness. So again, because I know my data, I know that happiness, they were asked sort of a Likert scale type answer where it was how happy are you, and it was what were the responses. Very happy, pretty happy, and not too happy. So I know that this is an ordinal variable. I'm going to go in here, and one is very happy. Pretty happy. And if I just hit tab, I can go just right to the next one. DK usually represents don't know, and NA would be not applicable, which were also some choices that the participants were offered. So there we go. We see that our labels are in. This is one of the reasons, as you'll see, you need to understand and know your data. And one of the key elements is understanding and knowing what the level of measure is, or what measurement type it is, whether it's nominal, ordinal, or scale. This is so critical, and it's the basic step for setting you up for success when we're doing statistics or any sort of quantitative or even qualitative analysis. Understanding your variables is very important. And I think me personally, when I was in school, I thought, oh good, this is test one, I just need to get through this and I'll never have to see these words again. And I didn't realize that they were actually the foundation of all things statistics. So if by any chance you're still struggling with conceiving what type of variable it is, with understanding the differences between nominal, ordinal, and scale variables, you really want to stop at this point and take some time to get to know those, because they will be a part of everything that you do going forward. But I am going to pause the video for a minute. I'm going to finish filling in my gender and race, so you don't have to watch me do everything. We have gender, race, and political affiliation, and then I will be right back. Okay, wait, but before I go, I do want to point out that gender is nominal, that race is also nominal. So just want to give you all that hint. Okay, so now I'm back and I have filled in our work status, our marital status, age, education, which is our highest year completed, highest degree, our marital status, that is not even remotely correct. Did not mean to type that over there. Good thing I checked that. Gender, race, political views, and our happiness level. Okay, so now what can we do? Well, let's exit out of that. We'll put that back up. So let's go to analysis. What we want to practice on today, or what we want to learn about today, is some descriptive analysis. And descriptive analysis is going to depend on which type of variable we have. So we're going to go into exploration, which are descriptives. Yay! You can see, if you look at these little icons, we have the three little circles. This would be a nominal variable. These three little bars that are in order, that would be an ordinal variable. Or the one that looks like a scale would represent the scale variables, which are interval and ratio. So this should help you. You have determined what type of variable it is. You can also see these up on top. You are the one as the researcher that selected that. But this will also help you going forward in what you determine you want to do with your data, and which descriptives you want to select depending upon the variable type. Let's start off with looking at a nominal variable. How about something like political views? For a nominal variable, I'm going to open up here my statistics and both my plots. And for a nominal variable, we always want to know what the mode is. So that is critical. We really don't run a median or a mean as far as our measure of central tendency, but we do want to know what the mode is. Now, the mode for this is coming out as 4. And you're thinking, okay, great, the mode is 4. But we can't report that the mode is 4 because that doesn't tell the reader anything. The reader needs to know what exactly that 4 means. And if you can't remember, or you're not sure what the 4 is, then you want to go back to your variable and just double click it, and the top will open, and we can look to see what 4 is representing. And 4 is representing moderate. So we would report that the mode is moderate. We would not report that the mode is 4. That's very important because it's not fair to the reader to have to learn our code. These are codes, and we don't need the reader to know that. We want to be very clear when we report things, so we would report that the mode is moderate for the variable political views. Some other things that we could do, though, because it is a nominal variable, is we could look at a frequency table. I'm going to go ahead and close this top up again. Boop. Now if we look at a frequency table, we can see the count and the percentage of each of the attributes that are in the variable. So 3.6% of our total population chose extremely liberal, and the count would be 6. And this is where we put the n equals 6, and that would be a lowercase n because it's only a subpopulation. This is the information you would use to report your descriptive statistics. You would say that the mode equaled, do you remember? It was moderate. The mode equaled moderate, and this would be your frequencies, your percentages, and your counts for each of the attributes. You can also get creative and do some sort of plot. Now again, the graphs and the charts, these are things that are going to depend on what type of variable the measure is. You'll see the little scale here, so this is very helpful because it kind of reminds you what you're supposed to use and not supposed to use. So these are for scale variables, and we can choose a bar plot. I'm going to just give us a little more room. We can choose a bar plot for our political views. I don't know why they're all crammed together. I've got to look into that one. When you get to the plot, you can actually copy it. You can right click and copy. And as a matter of fact, you can do the same thing with the table. When you're reporting, you can just right click and paste. And I did the table second, so of course that overrode the plot. But this is what you would want to paste into your report or your PowerPoint, whatever it is that you're turning in. These would be things that you would report as tables and graphs for your results section. So let's look at something that is maybe ordinal. How about highest degree earned or level of happiness? Which one? Should we take a vote? Well, so far I only know what my vote is. We'll go with happiness. Sorry guys. We've got in here our mode, our minimum, and our maximum, but we are missing the median. With an ordinal variable, we want to know what the median is. You can keep the mode in, you can keep the sum in, you can keep more in. They're not necessary, but you definitely need to have the median. That's the one that's going to matter the most. And again, the median is 2, so if you're not sure what that is, you want to click over here and look to see what was it that 2 was. Well, 2 is pretty happy. So the median, the measure of central tendency, is pretty happy. So if we were to write this up, we would say that we have a count of 169. So we would say participants, and then the n equals 169, selected their level of happiness ranging from not too happy to very happy, with a median of pretty happy. See how we would say that? And remember, there's another video that will help you write these descriptives, but this is where they're coming from. Our frequencies, because we still want our frequencies because it is a categorical variable or a nominal or ordinal variable. So we know that 31% selected very happy, which was a count of 53. Over 50%, which is a count of 86, selected pretty happy. And 16.6% with a count of 28 selected not too happy. Now as far as these two right here, myself personally, I would not report the don't knows or not applicables when there's only 1 or 2 people or subjects that did that. If we had 25 people that didn't respond out of 170, I might be alarmed. But when you have 2 people, that's expected. We really don't need to be that detailed. It's very common out of 170 that a couple would not respond. Think of when you invite 15 people over for dinner, there's always someone that says they'll be there that doesn't show up. So this is, again, what we would expect. Sometimes people just miss a question. Sometimes people don't finish the survey. Whatever the reason, it doesn't seem to be too alarming. So personally, I would not report these 2. I would report the main 3 and the information. This is telling the reader the important stuff that they need to know. And for happiness, we have the bar plot. Now let's look at, because the variable age was asked in years, it's a scale variable. So I'm going to put it over here, and for this we definitely want the mean and we want the standard deviation. And again, you can can definitely select more, but it doesn't do you any good necessarily. So we've got our mean and our standard deviation. We've got our count. Excellent. That is what we need. And we have a bar graph. Now, a bar plot doesn't really work well with interval or ratio data. What we most typically see is a histogram. And a histogram would represent the continuous nature because everything is touching here. So that's actually a great one. And these would be the ages, and these would be the number of participants or the density. You can also decide if you'd rather to do a box plot. A box plot, this line in the middle is where the mean is. This tip is the minimum point. This tip is the maximum point. And then these are the quartiles. This would be where 25% of the, this is the lower 25th and the upper 75th. So the majority of data will sit here. So this line in the middle is the mean, or the measure of central tendency. This is the middle or average point. And then you have your minimum at this point and your maximum at this point. You can also even do a violin plot. And this shows where the density is by being broader. So we know that more people, again, this is actually where the mean is. So this is where the majority of numbers are going to fall. And there's less where it's a little bit thinner. We can, if we'd like, also split our data. So if we wanted to know maybe age by gender, we would see the plot. We have male and female, so we can see that there's, as far as the two groups are concerned, there's a larger proportion of younger males and fewer older males, whereas the females are a little bit more similar in their young and elder categories. We also see, now that we've split it, we have data, we have 74 males and 95 females. We have our mean and standard deviation for males and for females. So the average age for males was 44.9 and the average age for women was 51. So it kind of splits it everywhere for us. If we wanted to, let's see, actually, this is kind of fun. Let's look at another, let's split a histogram. So we have the males and the females. And again, remember, you can just right click and copy at any time if you see something, whoops, that you need. We also could decide that we wanted to split our information. What did we look at earlier on? Happiness, maybe? If we wanted to know about the males and females. Now I've got mean selected, so I want to go back to the median. They do have the same median, both 2, which was pretty happy. And we can see the differences in the numbers of how many males and how many females selected happy or pretty happy. And we can even split the bar chart. So here are just a few things that you can start with We're not going to be doing any splitting in our lab, but that was, I just think, a fun way to get a little bit more familiar. As you can see, Jamovi's very forgiving. If you do the wrong thing, well, it actually kind of lets you. So you also do want to have a sharp eye on what it is that what you're doing and what you're reporting. If you don't remember where things are, you can go back and look. Just double click. Very easy. Exploration is for descriptives. As we move farther in the course, we will be doing some of these things like a t-test, ANOVA, a regression. Here is our data that I've been using for this example. When you're looking at the table, I'm just going to combine those two words, no big deal. When you're looking at the data, you'll notice that a variable is a column is a variable and a row is a participant. So this is one participant that is working full time. It is a white, divorced male, age of 60. Highest year of education was 12. He did get a high school degree. He has moderate political views and he's pretty happy. So each row is a participant. And hopefully this should get you started. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great time learning Jamovi. Have a great day. Bye-bye.